All right. Welcome, everybody, to the fourth session of the office hours for the Simplest Marketing Planner for 2019. And first quarter is over. My name is Elise Bennon of marketing-mentor.com. And Chelsea Wave. Chelsea is in the chat box. If you have any questions or problems, she's an expert at Zoom. She knows everything. So if you have any questions, you can ask Chelsea in the chat box. And now also, I'll ask everyone for networking purposes to put their elevator pitch also in the chat box so we can know who's on the call. So how you answer the question, what do you do? It's a very tricky question. It's a trick question, actually, often, sometimes. And if you've been working with me at all, then you know how important it is and you're ready with it. And if you haven't, then it might take a little longer, but take a moment now to put your elevator pitch in the chat box while I am giving you the rules for, or the guidelines, let's say, for this session. When I open it up to discussion, and I haven't decided yet exactly when I'm going to do that, but it could be at the end or it could be in the middle as we're talking about each of the different topics. Please keep your comments and questions brief and concise. And before you ask, say also your elevator pitch, who you are and what you do, so people can know. And if you have comments in between as we're going, you can also put them in the chat box. There might be some issues or questions that are a little too personal, a little too general, a little too big for this environment. And if so, I will let you know, and we can maybe even take advantage of one of the free consultations that I offer in order to get your question answered. And if you don't want to be on video on YouTube, in case this one is posted publicly, then don't say anything. Those are really the rules. My goals for you in general, and part of this process is, I have a new mission actually, and it is to remove the obstacles people have to their own self-promotion. And so one of the ways I do this is with the Simplest Marketing Planner, and I send it to you every month, even though you may have noticed by now that it's kind of the same document over and over that I'm sending to you. So that's on purpose, by the way, and I'll show you what part is different from month to month. But the idea is just to keep you familiar with the process, and if you want to start a new one, you're welcome to. If you don't want to start a new one, you don't have to. It's just to try to make this process easier for you. My goal is to have you carve out 30 minutes a day, ideally, every day, ideally, in order to put yourself first, put your business first. And the reason is because this marketing thing takes time. It really takes much longer than you want it to, for sure. It takes longer than you think it will take. And it usually takes more time than people imagine it's going to take. So just know that and be patient and persistent with yourself and with the process. Consistency really is the key to this process. So let's see. Let me begin by sharing my screen, and I'm just going to show you one little change we made on the document. Okay, where's the document? Right here. All right, Chelsea, tell me if you can't see it.
No,
if there's
looks
anything
good.
in the way. Okay. So it's still 5 pages. It's a nice different color for April. I want you to notice our sponsor, Function Fox, which is a time management and project management, time tracking and project management software. So if that will help you carve out 30 minutes a day, please take advantage of their 14-day trial. And we did move the planner part up to the beginning of the document and put the instructions at the end, since most of you hopefully are familiar now with how it works, and didn't want to put another obstacle in the way of the actual planner. And this section right here, the April extras, this is really the section that changes from month to month. It's All the information that you'll find that I'm highlighting is on the blog post that is linked right there, and that is a new blog post every month also. But otherwise, all of the resources from the document, from these little helper icons, which is where you can find some videos to explain a little bit about how you should be doing what I'm suggesting that you do. Those are all also on the secret landing page, which you'll find here, the how-to content link. So that's the page to bookmark. If you ever don't get the email with the document with the new planner every month, it doesn't matter, actually, because I'm just sending you a link to this page right here where you can download the new one. So please don't worry if you don't get the email. That is a bit of a problem with some people, but hopefully we've resolved that problem. So one other thing, in terms of time management, I realize that 30 minutes a day is good for certain things, but maybe not for others. I do think that you can do social media in 30 minutes a day, as long as you know what you're posting or what your plan, your strategic social media plan is. I think you can research prospects in 30 minutes a day. I think you can do some targeted outreach if you have your scripts ready and your messages ready. You can do 2 or 3, sometimes 10 messages to new people every day. But there are certain things you can't do in 30 minutes a day. And I do think developing content, writing, creating, a podcast or a video, that will definitely take longer. And it requires a certain different type of attention. And I realize that. And that is why I created this brand new, also new obstacle removing process called the Get Your Marketing Done session. And so I've tried a couple of them, and the next ones are tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. And it's basically a 3.5-hour block where we will come together on Zoom to talk about what you want to do in the next 3 hours, and then you're going to go do it, and then you'll come back and you'll say what you did and what is still left to do. So it's really just a way to try to help you get your marketing done. And Chelsea, if you would put the link to the sign up, the details in the sign up, if you're interested in that. We do have a couple slots open for Friday and Saturday. Okay, so now I want to jump right into the target market of the month. So let me stop sharing there. And I'm going to now share this. All right. Can you see my browser?
Yes. Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
So thank you, Chelsea. No problem. Okay. So this month I chose B corporations. And let me first say, actually, that if you have a target market that you're interested in and you'd like me to feature as the target market of the month, I am open to your suggestions. I can't promise that I'll do it, but I will certainly consider it. I want to try over the course of the year to show a broad range of different types of markets that people I'm working with are reaching out to and focused on. And B Corps is a very interesting one because a lot of creative professionals really want to work with organizations that are doing good and that are making a positive impact on the world. Who wouldn't want that, of course? Sometimes they're nonprofits and don't have a lot of money to spend. But I think beyond the world of nonprofit, there is this other world that is growing, and it's called B corporations. So if you're not familiar with them, I just want to show you a little bit about what they are and what they do. So you can find them at bcorporation.net. And if you scroll down, you'll see, and I'll just read out their positioning statement. Basically, certified B corporations are a new kind of business that balances purpose and profit. They are legally required to consider the impact of their decisions on their workers, customers, suppliers, community, and the environment. This is a community of leaders driving a global movement of people using business as a force for good. So who wouldn't want that? And this is like an S Corp, a B Corp. There's an actual certification process that they put you through. So it's not easy. You can't just sign up and pay your money. There's a process that you have to go through. But so far, as you can see, 2,788 companies have gone through that process in 150 different industries in 64 countries, and they all have ostensibly one unifying goal, and that is to use business as a force for good. And I'd be curious, actually, when we open it up for discussion shortly, if people on the call have had experience with B corporations, whether it's in this community or just some of the clients or prospects you've worked with are certified B corporations. But this is definitely something that's growing. And the reason I think it's important from a marketing point of view is because it is a community and it offers the resources that you need if you're going to market to a community, to a target market. So I want to show you some of those. The most important one really is their directory. So right here in the upper right-hand corner, I'm just going to click on the B Corp directory. And essentially, we can search those 2,788 companies according to industry or location. So here you can see it's all different industries, lots of different industries. They said 150 different industries. And because most of us are in marketing and communications, I'm going to choose that one. And I'm going to say US, although they have obviously all different countries. And this is what you get back as a result. And if you scroll down, you can see that there are at least 10 pages of them, probably more. And then if you click on each one, let's click on Tom's of Maine, which is a familiar one. You get what they call their impact report. So all sorts of information about how they're doing good, governance, workers, community, environment, customers, and then obviously website and Facebook page. So there is some contact information here, not a lot. You don't get email addresses, so that you're going to have to research either on their website or via LinkedIn. But the reason this quantity and quality of information is important is because when you're going to do your targeted outreach, personalizing and customizing these messages is one of the most important things. So if that's what will get them to respond. So if, for example, you reference the fact that they're a B Corp, that's a check off the list in the first place. And then if you show that you've done your homework, you've done your research, you understand what's important to them, you can even refer to some of the data here and some of the information, then that will make them take note of your message over other ones that are much more generic, basically. So I want you to use this information to really get to know some of the companies that you're interested in reaching out to, and then do the targeted outreach with that information in mind. Okay, then I want to show you on LinkedIn. This is their LinkedIn page, the LinkedIn page, B Lab for the company. You can see that they have 19,000 plus followers. I don't think there's a way to access the actual followers, but if you can find a way, then please let me know. But if you're looking for people who support B corporations or who are interested but may not already be one themselves, then this is a good way to access them. So for example, they're posting here some of their posts or blog posts. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Let me try it this way. Okay, here's one. For example, you see that this post has 44 likes. And if I click on the likes, then I get 44 people who are interested all in the same thing. Maybe they even commented on it. And in your outreach, then you can refer to and connect with them using this as the connection, right? Because on LinkedIn, and we'll talk a little bit about that also, the thing that's going to make someone want to say yes to your invitation to connect is that you have something in common and that you're making it personal. So that's just one really simple way to find 44 possible people who have something in common and are interested in this if you are also. All right. Then I want to show you their blog. This is the Be the Change blog. So if you're creating content, then this might be a good outlet for some of your content if it's around this idea of social good and companies that are doing social impact. You might be able to write for them. You might be able to connect with some of the writers, right? So lots of good information that you can find about what they're interested in, what they care about on their blog. Similarly, by following the social media, you can see who are those 42,000 followers. I mean, the thing about social media that I find really interesting, especially because a lot of times people aren't sure exactly what they should be posting. And yes, it is important to post, and it's important to share and like and comment and all of that. You can spend your 30 minutes a day doing that. But mostly what's valuable in my mind is the lists of followers on Twitter, on Instagram, on. You can see and you can who is following a particular company or organization or person, then those are possible people for you to connect with. So it's really easy and sometimes actually overwhelming to put together a list of prospects when you have so many resources available to you. And how do you choose which ones? You have to have a certain criteria. But the point I'm making here is that there are lots of ways to access the different people that you're interested in. All right, and then finally, I just want to show you one marketing communications firm that I'm aware of. This is called Round Peg. I'm just going to click on their logo to go to the main page. It's called roundpegcom.com. And you can see mission is meaningless in attracting customers, but it's everything in keeping them loyal. That's one of their positioning statements. But this is their main statement. Round Peg is the marketing consultancy that works with BCorps and other for-benefit businesses to amplify their impact and do more good. We help social impact companies discover and activate their purpose to engage customers, increase retention, and build loyal communities of influence. So very clearly, they are targeting this market. They are a member of the B Corp community. They have been certified as a B Corp, and they have, focused their attention and are speaking directly to that market. So if that's of interest to you and you want to model, this is an interesting example. All right, and then actually I just wanted to show you one more thing, which is their impact report. So if you're a freelancer, designer, copywriter, or something else, and you want to work with agencies and marketing communications firms that are in this world, then there are several of them, and this is one that you might want to reach out to. Okay, so Chelsea, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I do want to open it up a little bit to discussion about this idea of B Corps and see if anyone has had experience with any of these organizations or in this community. So if you have, you can raise your hand, or you can speak up, or you can put something in the chat bar, and Chelsea will moderate. Anybody?
No.
No?
No, but this is a really fascinating resource because there's such a big ecosystem, not only of nonprofits in the U.S., but organizations that surround nonprofits and support nonprofits and act and do other social good. So I'm really excited to dive into this.
And thank you, Cordelia. Even though it's after you made your comment, just tell everyone who you are and where you are and what you do and focus on.
Yes, I called in earlier and I could not unmute myself. So also I was driving.
Okay.
I didn't have time to play with all the.
No problem.
But yeah, so I was talking to the phone. not happening. Yes, I'm Cordelia. I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm a designer, an illustrator with about 15 years experience, run the design studio Luna Creative. And I'm working a lot with clean tech companies that are, wanting to branch out more into companies that are in the renewable space, which is a big thing here in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And also work with nonprofits. And what I'm working to do is really try to tighten up my messaging, be more focused, and do more outreach in the Research Triangle, which is about 2 hours away. So I'm trying to be very strategic and focused.
Excellent. Yeah, I think this would be a good resource for you, Cordelia. Anyone else? I see people shaking their heads, so that means no. All right. All right, good. Well, that is the target market of the month. So now I want to talk a little bit about LinkedIn and other social media. And again, I want these sessions to be as interactive as possible. So please feel free to, again, put in the chat box if you have a comment to make or a question, because I'm really getting tired of lecturing, actually. As I age, I notice that I'm tired of just hearing myself talk. So, but I'll give a little that we can work with here. So the next piece is LinkedIn. And I sent out a quick tip yesterday, I think it was, about how LinkedIn for connecting with people and prospecting. I mean, it's always been that, but it really is becoming a thing these days. People are responding much more. They're spending more time on LinkedIn. They're reading the content in the feed. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the pace at each of the different social media platforms is very different. And the reason I like LinkedIn and I think it's more useful for professional purposes is because the pace is a lot slower. It's not like if you didn't see the tweet, 5 minutes later, it's gone and you can't find it again. So LinkedIn, and someone asked this question earlier, if you post something once a week or post an article once a month, that's plenty. You don't have to do it really often. So it really kind of takes some of the pressure off of the posting and the content marketing and the social media. So that's one of the reasons I like LinkedIn. But also, people really are making lots of connections and starting conversations with actual prospects. And there's a little bit of a mystery to it, I have to say, because we're not on the computer with these people who are doing it. I keep hearing about it, and I'm actually in the group coaching asking people to share their screen and show what they're doing. But when you hear, oh, I've got 189 new connections, it's like, well, how did they do that? So I'm actually not going to show you because I don't know exactly how they're doing it. I'm just telling you that there are ways to connect with lots of different people, and I'll show you some guidelines for doing it. But each person kind of has to find their own way and find the people that they're looking for. And that's part of the trick. But it really is a numbers game. So if you can get in a groove, then I think you can make it work for you. And that's what I'm encouraging a lot of people to do lately. So I'm going to share a few examples. And then I'll open it up to discussion, and people can share also how they're using LinkedIn or what questions they have or what obstacles they have in terms of using LinkedIn, and we'll try to figure this all out together. And I shared with Chelsea, and she can put them in the chat box also, some of the actual text that people are using and that you can adapt for your own purposes to invite people to connect. That's what I'm focused on today, is that first step of inviting people to connect. Because even with the free version of LinkedIn, they allow you to invite many people to connect on a regular basis, and they will obviously cut you off if you get to their maximum. And that is the point at which it might make sense to upgrade and do the premium, or at least the free 1-month trial that they offer. But I would say in general, don't take advantage of that. Don't pay for it unless you're really going to commit to it and use it on a regular basis. But with that said, one of the messages, or actually the sample message that I shared yesterday, which I will read out and Chelsea can put, if she hasn't already, in the chat box, is simply hi name, the name of the person. So of course you want to personalize every message and add that personal note every time you connect, as opposed to just clicking on the word connect. I think that's a no-brainer. So hi name, starting out with, you don't know me yet, but we both know, and then you can name a person that you both know, if that is your mutual connection. And I would love to connect with you too. So you don't know me yet, but we both know this person. Nice and simple. And then your offer, using generosity as a marketing tool. I am, of course, available to help if you ever need a blank who knows how to blank. So obviously fill in those blanks. But that's a really simple way, and a lot of people will say yes to that. I got some other suggestions in response to my message yesterday that I will also share with you. When someone has followed you, then you can say, hi name, thanks for following me here on LinkedIn, and I would love to connect as well, because there's a difference between connecting and following. I'm personally not exactly sure what it is, but it's better to be connected than to be followed. So I would use those people who have followed you to connect. And then also you can ask a question using curiosity as a marketing tool. How did you find my profile and information? I'm always curious to hear how people came across my info here on LinkedIn. Cheers, and look forward to connecting. So that's another approach, using curiosity. And if you want to reach out to one of the people that LinkedIn recommends for you, or someone connected to the same person as you, then you can say something like, and I get these messages all the time, we seem to be connected to a few of the same people. And as a consultant, I'm always curious to read what others think about and then you can pick a topic that you have in common. Cheers, and look forward to connecting here on LinkedIn, right? So again, just personalizing it enough to let the people know that you, thought about it, you chose them for a particular reason, and you're not being too salesy, too pushy, too spammy, but you are offering to help, because I do think that's important. Because here's the thing, and I don't say this in public, so I'm not saying this in public, but I am kind of. On the one hand, it doesn't matter what you say, because timing is the most important thing. If you catch someone at the right moment, it almost doesn't matter what you say. On the other hand, of course, you do have to say the right thing, and you have to say it in the right way, but timing really is more important than anything else. So that's why it's a numbers game. It's about just connecting with as many people as you can, and then not worrying about the people who don't respond, but in fact focusing on the people who do raise their hand and say something and want to, learn a little bit more about what you do. You can offer a chat. You can offer some content. That's where content marketing connects with this targeted outreach and the online networking. So again, just trying to connect all the dots of the marketing tools. So I'll stop right there and see what other people have to say about LinkedIn. Questions, comments. You can either raise your hand and or put something in the chat bar so Chelsea can call on you.
There's a couple of comments in the, I don't know if they want to come on, like Cindy.
Okay, does Cindy want to speak up?
Oh.
No, she says she has a cold.
Okay. Yeah.
It looked like David wanted to say something. David, did you have your hand up?
I have something to contribute.
Okay, Cordelia.
Real quick. First of all, it's ridiculous. LinkedIn Premium's gotten so expensive. It used to be $10 a month, and now it's much, much more than that, because they realized how valuable it was for headhunters. And that professional companies would pay a lot for that service. But what I have found, what I'm trying to do, because I'm in the challenge of trying to do a lot of outreach remotely, so I'm looking for the connectors. I'm looking for the people who are outward facing. Like there could be, like let's say there is a nonprofit that there's a marketing person at a nonprofit and they are connected with a number of companies. Like that person's going to be like number one on my list to reach out to. I tend to look for the people who are more connected and have a really outgoing, friendly vibe. And then I just talk to them very, like who would you, like just explaining what I do, and then who would you recommend connecting with?
Mhm.
And I think that helps because a lot of when I'm working, a lot of fields that are involved. They're very technical and very engineering focused, and not all these folks are like super social.
Right.
If you follow someone who's brilliant, but he might not be the best person to
That's a good point.
advance your cause.
So you're saying, so the criteria you're using then is if they have a lot of connections and if they're active?
Yes, but I'm usually evaluating them from the organization site first and then looking on social media. I mean, there are a lot of different ways to do this, but I was checking out a number of different organizations, trying to understand the landscape and how these organizations interrelate and, like who the players are, and then kind of drilling down and just seeing who seems to be more active.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking at websites, I'm looking at, industry conferences, and then trying to get the social media aspect. So it's a lot of like an intelligence operation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the metaphor I've been using a lot lately is be a business detective and gather the intelligence and do the research and then turn it into content. And that's how the targeted outreach and the networking connects with the content. So great. Thank you, Cordelia.
Thanks.
Who else? David?
Yeah, Elise. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
I'm amazed.
It worked.
I know. I have such trouble with the mic. Anyway, the one thing that I'm noticing is it's actually awkward to start managing those connected conversations after a while because I don't know how fast to do the ask or how long to keep the subtle conversation going. Somebody, last week said, if I can help you with anything. I mean, I said, it was a fellow copywriter, but he's a very senior level copywriter. And we were chatting and he says, if I can help you with anything, don't hesitate to ask. And I thought, I don't know what to do with that statement because there are
Ask him
things.
something. Ask him something.
Yeah, I guess I'm just.
Why not?
Yeah, I just don't want to be the guy that, is salesy and pushy and, that kind of thing.
I understand. And I think for you and in general, for a lot of people, the reluctance to stay away from the line between, being persistent and being a pest, that's how I think about that line, is you stay so far away from it that you don't get close enough. And so, I mean, truthfully, if someone is offering you something, then I would take them up on it. I had a client actually the other day who said, this person said they wanted to have a phone call. Should I wait until they ask again? And I thought, no, that doesn't make sense. But I could see how the reluctance to not want to be too eager or not want to appear desperate, makes you want to maybe play hard to get. I don't know. But I would say, please don't worry about that. People are not that easily offended. And even if they are, truthfully, they'll forget about it soon enough. So I would err on the side of persistence. And if you can think about it as generosity and curiosity. So, take these people up on an offer where you can learn something. So you're not necessarily trying to get something. Or as Cordelia was saying, who should I be talking to? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a combination of framing the right question and then not being shy to pursue that.
Yes, don't be shy. Thank you, David. Who else, Chelsea?
Karina, looks like.
Serena? We can hear you, Karina. Okay, Karina, we cannot hear you. I see that you're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Now?
Now, yes.
Okay. I guess my mic is directional. Anyway, my issue is very similar to David's. I can make the connection. I can, send the warm email, but then it's like, I'm a wallflower at a cocktail party. Where do I go next? The generosity and curiosity is I think, useful to think about. But what would you suggest, or how to think about using the like posting and content to kind of keep the interest going? What
that's the whole point.
But I'm theoretically, I understand that, but I'm missing like strategy to follow. So what would you advise? Just do it, or is there
it's
something
not that
more
complicated? No, it's not that complicated. And I do find people complicate this and put a lot of obstacles in front of them. And it sounds to me like that's what you might be doing. I would say create some content if you haven't already, and just offer it up. Here's a blog post I wrote. Here's a video I did. Are you interested? Be creative. Let's see. It looks like some people are commenting. Maybe Chelsea, if you want to read what the comments are. I can see just like the first 5 words of some of these comments, but it looks like people are responding to what's being said. So Chelsea, read it for me.
So like, it's business. It's not a date. Don't beat around the bush. Tell them what you're looking for or how you can help each other. I think people would appreciate the quickness to get to the point, so you're not leading each other down the wrong path. Angela asked a question: should we offer a freebie as part of our initial connection email? So I think that's what we just kind of covered.
Yes, a freebie is content. Any kind of content, whether it's a link to something you wrote or created that you think is interesting, or that someone else wrote and that you think is relevant.
Yep, and then just kind of like some other general encouragement.
Encouragement, right, good. Yes, we all need a little bit of encouragement sometimes. All right, so hopefully that's helpful, Karina.
Well, can I ask about one other tactic that I've seen? And that's kind of giving people a shout out. Like when if I'm following a company, and they make an announcement, they launch a new product or whatever. And I've done this with some companies where I know people at the company, where I just say, congratulations to the team at XYZ Corp for whatever. And, sometimes I link to whatever their press release is or the press coverage or not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Tag people, congratulate them, compliment them, tell them that they nailed it, whatever they did. David, I know, has a little strategy with a certain kind of company that made the 1,000 list, the SAS 1,000 list. So he's congratulating them on making the SAS 1,000 list. Any of those things are relevant, are valuable, are valid. And again, I just want to go back to what I'm not saying in public, which is that it almost doesn't matter what you say, because timing is everything. Mm-hmm. Right? So let's try not to get too caught up in what is the exact right, perfect thing to say.
I guess part of what I have to get over is this idea that when, like you said, even if somebody gets offended, they forget about it. Or it's like there's thousands of potential prospects out there. So
exactly.
Don't get so caught up in the handful you're looking at right now.
That's right.
Just, there are more fish in the sea.
As my grandmother used to say, yes.
All right. Cast your net wide.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Of course. Anyone else want to jump into this conversation? No? Chelsea?
No questions.
All right. So then I want to do one more thing, which is address the issue of kind of social media beyond LinkedIn. Because there was a question last month, from Adele in the UK, and she basically said, because I don't really include social media in the marketing planner, you may have noticed that, and it's not because you shouldn't be doing it. I see it as a wild card, basically, and it supports your content, and it supports your targeted outreach, and it supports your networking. So it's one of the tools you use for all of those tools. And so what I wanted to share is, and this is a piece of content I'm working on that will probably become a blog post or maybe even something else. social media that connects the dots, because the whole point here is that we have to use the marketing tools in a way that connects the dots between the people that you're trying to reach. So you're networking with them, you're reaching out to them via email and phone and direct mail and LinkedIn, and they are seeing your content, whether you're posting it on their websites or their trade association website, or you're speaking at their event, or you're giving a webinar that they're interested in. All of these things are connected. That's what makes it work. So social media that connects the dots. I have a couple examples to talk about and show you. The simplest one is tweeting from an event. So that is, if you attend an event, this is more strategic networking. So you either go to the event, or even if you don't go to the event, actually, you can be following the feed and just be sharing and reposting and commenting, whether it's on LinkedIn or on Twitter or on Facebook, wherever they are, right? Because the social media content, you have to go where your prospects are. You don't choose your social media platform based on what you like. You choose based on where they are. So you go where they are and you just share what they are sharing. So again, if it's at an event or part of an event, then you spread the word, or you listen to a speaker and you take a quote and you tag the speaker and you tag the event, and that is more strategic networking plus social media. All right, so that's one example. And if people in the room want to share how they've done that, please do. A very simple thing is to create content for your own blog and then just post it on LinkedIn as a published article. I had one client this week actually who did that, and because the timing was right, a past client of his saw it and said, "Oh, I have a project for you," and he got the project. So that's the kind of thing that can happen if you're active, right? Timing. And one of the types of content marketing that I've been trying to educate people about, because it's a little complex, is this content marketing where you basically integrate your ideal prospects into your content creation process. So instead of reaching out to someone and saying, do you want to work with me? Do you outsource these services? Do you need me? You say, I'm writing a blog post on this topic and I'd love your perspective. Do you have 10 minutes to answer a few questions? And that gets you into a conversation with someone with their defenses down, you in learning mode, using curiosity as a marketing tool to basically create your own content that you will then feature them in. So even as you're creating that content, you can tag them in a social media post that says, I just interviewed this person for this blog post that I'm writing and can't wait for the final product to be ready. And then they will share it and other people will see it too. All right, so that's another example of social media that connects the dots. And finally, something that I actually haven't done too much of, and I should, but I did it recently and it worked really well, which is what I call starting a pain point conversation. And I did it on LinkedIn, although you can probably do it on almost any platform. And basically you just post something that you know is a pain point for your clients and prospects. Maybe you ask a question, you say, here's what happened, what should I do? Or here's what a client asked me, what would you do? And then that's an incentive for people to comment and like and share and help you create. Then you basically take that whole thing and turn it into a blog post or turn it into a video or turn it into a piece of content, right? So you're starting a conversation, you're getting people involved, and then you're turning it into content. Again, just trying to connect all the dots between all the marketing tools. That is my mission. All right. I think I've talked enough now. Who else wants to talk? Chelsea, tell me who else wants to talk.
There's no questions in the chat.
All right, any comments?
There's some comments. I don't know if anyone wants to come on. Just like they liked your idea.
They like my ideas. Oh, good.
Elise,
Yes, David.
You did raise the Facebook thing, so I do have a question about that I'd like to ask. Okay. So, I created that video on data and trust and how banks use it to build trust with clients. And I ran 2 different Facebook ads. using that content. And I got really good open rates, but in the actual contacts for me, I only fared at 2.5%. So I had an open rate of over 55, which I thought was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
But only 2.5% of that turned into contacts. And some of the contacts were really odd. I never positioned this to musicians,
Mm-hmm.
and yet I got, a message from a musician saying, "I'd like your free 30 minutes." And I don't know what to do with that, because I don't have any experience in writing copy for musicians,
All right.
and I wouldn't know how
So
to
let me try
promote
to
them.
answer that.
Anyway,
First of all,
yeah.
you can say to a person who is not a qualified prospect, "I'm sorry, I'm not the best person to help you. I appreciate your interest, but I am not qualified to help you. Sorry." You can say, "No, thank you." Just because you offer a free 30 minutes, you don't have to do it if you really sincerely feel like you can't help that person. I do that. If someone comes to me and they're interested in asking questions that I don't know anything about, they think it's marketing, it's not to me, I just say, "I'm sorry, I can't help you."
Okay.
So, I give you permission to do that. And the other thing is, I don't really know all that much about Facebook and how Facebook ads work and how their algorithms work, I don't know if 2.5% out of 50% or 2.5 out of 100, whatever the statistics are, you're the data guy, not me, is a good thing or not. But I would test it, right? I mean, you're testing something. I think the idea of using video in that way, obviously you need to tweak something about who it's getting to or getting in front of, and maybe Facebook is not the place for you.
Yeah. I was really specific in my Facebook segmentation, so I thought I was hitting the right audience, and in some cases I did. I actually hit some of the people I used to work with at the bank who moved on to other careers, who said, "Oh, I didn't know you were doing this now, we should talk." So that's easy for me because it's my comfort zone. It was the musician, there were two of them, and I thought, okay, I'm not sure what I'm going to say. Now I
You
do.
can say, "No, thank you." And maybe try it on LinkedIn as opposed to Facebook.
That's what I'm thinking too, is that LinkedIn is a more direct, relatable source, and if I post it into the LinkedIn groups that I think are a direct match, that might be the easiest. Maybe you could actually talk a little bit about the difference between like LinkedIn Pulse and then posting into just a general group or something, because I'm not clear on that really.
Okay, I can do that. And we have a few more minutes. Let's see, Chelsea, is there anything else I need to attend to there in the chat room?
No.
All right, so then let me share my screen again. Let me just get the right thing up here. Okay, so I think that's the right, oh no, that's not the right one. Wait. There we go. Okay. So here is the pain point conversation I started, just in case you want to see it. This was about, it was about boundaries, basically, and training people to, for when and how quickly you're going to respond, because I find that there are some clients who think you should respond right away. And so I just got a conversation started here about that, and I'm turning that into content. So that's an example of a really simple post. So just to go to David's question, and I think some of these things, content related, especially people are, LinkedIn doesn't make it easy. Let me start by saying that. It's not clear and it's constantly changing. So this is my LinkedIn feed, right? If you click on the in logo in the upper left-hand corner, you get the LinkedIn feed where you have an opportunity to start a post, which is not an article. And right underneath it, they give you an option to write an article. So here, I might say, "I'm giving my monthly office hours right now. So many good questions. What do you want to know about LinkedIn?" Maybe that'll start a conversation. I don't know. Let's put marketing there and we'll just post it. right? So it could be as simple as that. And you could do that, you know, in 30 minutes a day for sure. So that's the easy thing. And then if I wanted to write an article, which I'm suggesting that you do maybe once a month, it doesn't have to be all that often, then it gives you an actual page. So this is LinkedIn Pulse, I believe, where it gives you a page where you put an image and you write a headline and you post your article. I would just copy and paste something from my blog right there. And then you publish it, and it publishes to, so if I go to my profile here, and if we're not connected, you and me, whoever you are, please feel free to connect with me. Here's my profile. And the things I'm talking about right now are found under articles and activity. So here are my articles on the left-hand corner side, and you can see all articles, or these are the posts that I have either written or shared or commented on. That's my activity, right? So those are the two options for creating content. And then, since we're here, I might as well show you this. This is Gigi Rosenberg, who is experimenting with video also on LinkedIn. And so she posted, so this is a post where she added a video. We don't need to watch it right now, but it's from her balcony where she's staying in Siena right now, and it connects to, it's a 45-second lesson in how to foster your sense of presence the next time you give a talk or reading. She's a public speaking coach. And so she's looking for, you know, you could comment, or you could share it, or you could like it. And every time you do that, then people see your name. And it's just a little bit of a hit, because that's, to me, what social media, and especially LinkedIn, is for, is just these kind of constant reminders that you exist. So if you're not posting, if you're not sharing, if you're not liking, then people, you know, forget about you or don't remember that you exist. So David, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does.
About groups also.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me do one thing here then. Let's see. Let's do, like, since you're interested in SaaS, we'll do a SaaS group, right? So we're looking for, let's see. Oh, now, of course, I've forgotten how to find the groups. Oh, here we go. Okay. So if I am looking for a group of companies that do software as a service, SaaS, then I would search for SaaS, and then I would look for groups. And then, so here, right, the biggest one has 462,000 members. Here's a SaaS group with 111,000 members. And this is what I was saying before, where all the members of the group, if you join it, you can access it, are potential clients. Mm-hmm. And you can just search through the group based on title. You can search by title, you can search by location, and then put together a list of prospects based on the people in a group. I wouldn't worry too much about posting content in groups. You can, but they're not all that active these days, and they tend to be kind of spammy. So my recommendation for using the groups is as resources for actual prospects.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right.
You actually download 111,000 members?
I don't know if you can download it, but you can see who they are.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So join that group.
Okay. And then I could use a scraper to actually pull that data.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. And one, just as a quick follow-up to that, I look at current and potential clients or people I'd like to work with and connect with, see what groups they're in, and start to see where there's overlap, and you know, and see, you know, like what that industry considers to be the important groups, because sometimes there can be a lot. So
yes,
that's another thing I've done to help drill down.
Excellent, Cordelia. Thank you. All right, Chelsea, anything else I need to know in the chat box?
I don't think so. Well, Jennifer looks like she had a quick question. Not
Jennifer,
sure.
all right.
I was just curious about pulling an article off of your site and putting it on LinkedIn, and that's cool because let me think of how I want to say it. LinkedIn is sort of encapsulated, so it won't mess with your SEO, or will it?
That is my understanding, that there's no duplication that Google will punish you for. I know what you're talking about, and my understanding is that there's no problem there. You might, however, want to just reorganize some of the information, or maybe you add a little different intro, or you add a little different outro, just to make it a little bit different.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Jennifer. All right. And I want to thank you all for joining me today and for participating in this experiment, which keeps going and seems to be working. So I'm happy about that. I want to just plug one more time my newest thing, the Get Your Marketing Done virtual co-working sessions, which are happening tomorrow and Saturday. And then there will be more in the future as well. And next month, I'll plug the How Design Conference. Also, if you're interested in that, I have a code for 10% off. So that's Mentor10 at How Design Live. Maybe I'll see some of you there. And I think that's it. I'll be back again first Thursday in May. I think it's like the 2nd or something. So it's very early in the month. So hopefully we'll see you then. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Bye.